Currently, Italy is having a hard time economically. The international committees have been saying that Italy has been biting off a bit more than they can chew welfare-wise. However, the northern region of Italy is blaming the underperforming and corrupt southern portion of Italy, while the southern portion of Italy is saying, "Come on guys, can we talk about this later? Football's about to start in a few months and the food's almost ready." Nowhere is the secessionary movement louder than in the northern city of Venice and the Veneto region as a whole, which is the region that Venice is located in. An unofficial referendum stated that over half of the Veneti wanted to leave Italy. Now, this was an unofficial referendum that was hosted by the secessionary party of Venice, so the data may not be too reliable, but it at least shows there's at least a sizable minority that wants to leave Italy, and they have a pretty strong case too. They put a lot more money in taxes than they receive, and it is one of the wealthiest regions in Italy. But more importantly, the Veneti never truly felt connected to their fellow Italians. See, Venice was a strong and independent empire from around 900 AD to 1797 when Napoleon Bonaparte finally conquered them. But for about 500 years, Venice was unmatched in trade and naval domination in Europe, and honestly could have persisted to today if it wasn't for those pesky New World continents and the trade route to India around Africa, guaranteeing its gradual decline. Along with historical pride, Venetians have their own language, or dialect, depending on who you ask. So what would an independent Veneto actually look like? Well, the region of Veneto is 18,000 square kilometers, or about 7,000 square miles, which is about the size of its would-be neighbor, Slovenia. Population would be around 4,800,000, which would be roughly the same as Costa Rica, or a bit more than Ireland. So all in all, this is a pretty reasonably sized European nation. So the next big question I need to answer for every new European nation is it going to be a part of the EU? Well, that's an easy one. If Italy is still around, they're going to try their hardest to make sure that Veneto is not a part of the same union they are. And let's say that Italy just dissolves away, well, Spain is going to make sure that Veneto doesn't join either, because of Spain's own secessionary movements. However, it'd probably be pretty close to the EU and basically follow all of the EU's rules to make sure they get some pretty reasonable trade agreements. But without the EU and Italy, could Veneto support itself financially? The economy hates change in any form, really, so for a while there, Veneto is probably going to be in the slums. However, it should recover pretty quickly. And on top of this, as previously mentioned, freedom from the EU may actually be a benefit. It could attract wealth via people and businesses trying to avoid taxes like Switzerland or Singapore. The final question, though, is very region-specific and is very important to Venice. Can Veneto pay for being a country and keep Venice from sinking, if it's even possible? Well, Italy has the MOSE project, which are these adjustable flaps that can block the tide from coming into the lagoon that surrounds Venice. The MOSE project costed Italy about 5.5 billion euros, and it isn't even done yet. And this whole project isn't going to keep the city from actually sinking, it's just meant to prevent large tides from coming into the city. To stop the actual sinking of the city, Venice plans to pump water into the sediment that holds up the city, which should lift the city a few feet over 100 years, but this project hasn't even started yet, and it's expected to cost over 100 million euros. That's half of their year's GDP. That doesn't even include maintaining it. All in all, saving Venice is going to be a big strain on Veneto, which is the reason why they want to leave in the first place. However, I suppose protecting the city is going to be cheaper than protecting the south. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe.